Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name.
Welcome to another edition of The Tea with Dr. T. Now, it's summertime and it's hot outside, so I actually have water instead of tea. But if you want to go grab your tea and get into this, what we're about to talk about today. Now, first of all, I've been on a hiatus for the past few months, so I apologize to my loyal followers that there hasn't been any new content, but it's been going through. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about what I've been going through, okay? First of all, I would like to show you all the cover of the JAG magazine. I was featured on the cover spring 2026 for my high school, the Wellington School. They did an awesome interview with me that ended up coming out in this article. And I will tell you that this article coming out has actually led to some emotions that I want to discuss today. My favorite movie is Mahogany. And one of the things I love about Mahogany is when Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams, who at one point I thought were my parents, that's another story, when they said success is nothing without someone to share it with. And I have actually for the past few months been feeling a way because I'm having so much success. Last year I got awards. I have a wonderful job. My kids are doing great. I have this wonderful life, house, car, everything, and no one to share it with. No one to come home to at night, to cuddle with, to watch TV with. And it has really been getting to me. I never thought that I would still be single 3 years after separation and divorce. I just was like, my man gonna pop up, you know what I'm saying? And let me say, I've had some amazing relationships in these past 3 years. Amazing. It's just for whatever reason, something hasn't been right in one of us. Either myself or the other person has ended the relationship. And I'm still waiting for that one. I'm still waiting for, I'm not sure if I believe God creates somebody for you, but I'm waiting for somebody that I don't have to compromise in any area of my life, right? So I've had a wonderful man who didn't believe in Jesus. I had a wonderful man who didn't plan on moving or relocating, and I definitely want to stay here close to my children. You know, I've had all of these situations, someone who wasn't consistent enough for me. Like maybe their level of consistency will work in another relationship, but the way my nervous system is set up, it just wasn't consistent enough for me. So there's been all of these little issues in my relationships, and they've ended. And now June 14th, 2026 brings me to where I am for the first time since 2023, going to stop dating. I'm going to spend some time with myself and God. I was going to make this podcast in April, but I just could not bring myself to make this declaration. Because I like dating. I like being on the dating apps. I like texting. I like getting good morning, good evening texts. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. Oh, send me a picture of what you got on. I love that stuff. I love those affirmations, a lot of which I was not getting in my long-term marriage. So this new dating, these new feelings, being seen and feeling like I am so important and feeling like I'm loved, it has been wonderful. But I can't compromise. And I found myself about to go back to somebody and compromise in a huge way because I loved the attention, the affection, the communication, and the connection that I had with this man. And I realized then that I had to stop. And I had to take some time, some much needed time to grieve. Now, I've had wonderful friends, specifically my friend Danette and my daughter Kiara. She's been saying this for 3 years. My cousin Kathy, like people have said this, my son Benji, but I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. I even fired my first therapist because she told me after I got separated and divorced that I needed to not date and spend time with the Lord. I fired her because I wasn't trying to hear that. Okay? I'm here to find love. How am I going to find love sitting on the sidelines? What? But I think I've come to that point now. And one of the biggest things that I think I have to give myself time and space to do is grieve. Because I'm one of them people that I just keep moving. I just keep going. I think I cried twice about my grandma dying. I had done so much crying about her dying before she even died, that once she died, it was like, here we are. I don't know, maybe there's still more that I have to grieve about. Same thing with my marriage. I had cried so much about the marriage, in the marriage, that I didn't have any tears for when it was over. I was like, if anything, I felt relief. But a couple of these relationships that I had me by the chokehold. And when they ended, I was not okay. And I did not take time to grieve. I was on to the next, right? And so I think that the first thing I need to do is give myself time to feel and grieve. Not just grieve a person, but grieve the life that I thought I would have. I wouldn't have stayed in a marriage for 15 years if I wanted to be single at 51. That was not on my bucket list or in my list of things that I thought was going to happen. Yet here I am. How do I get to a point of acceptance with a life that I didn't plan to have? That's number one. Number two is I have to learn how to be more discerning in dating. I talked to my friend Carl Brown yesterday. He said, you are going to attract men. That's not the issue. The issue is you got to stop responding to everything you attract. Mic drop. I talked to my daughter about this today, and I said, I was the fat girl in school, and fat girls was not popping in the 80s and 90s. So I started doing you should date him because basically that's all you're going to get. Right? And I think that set me up for not really asking for what I want or expecting to get what I want. It's like if they like you, you don't have a choice but to respond. You don't have a choice but to give them your number. You don't have a choice. And I could think of relationship after relationship that I got into that had I been in a point of being settled with myself and not trying to fill a void, I would have made a different decision when I interacted with that person. People come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime, but some of those people shouldn't even have gotten to the season. That's from my dad, Larry Price said that today. Some people shouldn't even be there for a season. They should have been there for a minute. They should have been there for a minute. And we made them season, reason, lifetime people, even though they didn't even deserve our time, our response, our attention. So how do you know what you really want if you haven't taken the time to sit with who you are, where you're going, and what you have to offer, right? You have to think about those things. So I took a few notes because I wanted to make sure that I stayed on point. The first thing I wanted to share about is mind the weeds to cultivate the seed. So surface level connections in dating are like weeds. They are populous. It's hard to tell on the surface the difference between a weed and a seed or budding flower or plant. So the first thing you have to do when you're trying to decide whether this person is a weed or whether it's a seed of a plant that may grow into something that you need in your life is you have to consistently look for the weeds, even while you are nurturing the seeds of the budding plant. You have to water the seeds daily. And if you observe both the seed and the weed, you will notice that the weeds grow much faster. If you think about this in terms of dating, you know the term now is so popular, love bombing. I love bombing, but it's so toxic. Love bombing is just like a weed. It's going to grow fast. It's going to come at you fast. It's going to demand a lot of your time and attention. It's going to tell you how beautiful you are. It's going to be everything you need, but at a very rapid pace. A seed, on the other hand, it's growing underneath the surface and you don't even see it while you're watering it. You have to have faith in what that seed is going to be while you're watering it, while you're caring for it, even though you don't see it. That may be a relationship that starts out as a friendship, a relationship that starts out as coworkers, a relationship that starts out as two people seeing each other on Sunday at church. You don't see what's going on underneath the surface. You don't see that that person is being groomed for you. all you keep looking at is, dang, it's not happy yet. That person hasn't asked me out. They're not trying to get my number. They haven't told me how beautiful I am. Bump it. I'm going to go with the weed, because the weed is saying and giving me what it feels like I need. Notice also that weeds show up way more than buds of seeds. It's easy to get surface level connections, but it takes time for relationships that are deep rooted. Those roots take time to go down, and they need to be cultivated. Again, it needs to be cared for. That's where consistency comes in. That's how you nurture and care for those roots. You have to feed, water, and attend to the seeds even when you don't see anything growing or developing. And that's the hard part for me. I'm an Aries, okay? We like things fast. We don't have time to wait on the seed to grow. So I'm a sucker for love bombing. Because to me, that means, hey, you're here, you love me, you want me. Oh, tell me we get married on the second day, I'm in. My last marriage, I got married after 30 days. So that is a sign of a weed and not a seed. The seed is going to take time to know you. It's going to take time to study you. It's going to take time to see what you want and what you need out of life so that it can be responsive to that. The seed is not going to look like what you want it to look like in the beginning. But once that seed breaks the ground and grows, there is no comparison between a weed and something beautiful like a flower or a plant. So it's best that we take our time and allow those seeds to grow, while also making sure that we cut off those relationships that are like weeds. I found this out years ago. I went out in my garden and I just started snatching off the tops of weeds. A week later, guess what? It was twice as many weeds as it was before. And my aunt said, baby, you can never do that. If you're going to take care of a weed, you got to pull the weed by the root. And I learned something that day. It don't matter if you pull off a weed and the roots are still there. It's going to come back twice as bad. So these relationships that we've given ourselves to and we've given energy to and we spend time with and we know they're not for us, if we don't cut them off at the root, they're going to keep popping up and keep popping up and keep popping up. They're going to keep being distractions from what God has from you and the path that God has from you. And that has happened in this last 4-month period. I've had 4 people that I dated in the past pop up. That, you know what, everything looked great in the beginning. But a weed is always going to reveal itself as a weed. And it's my choice whether I continue to entertain these weeds, water these weeds, give these weeds sunlight, or if I pull them up by the root. Okay, that's what we have to do. Dating is like unwrapping a Christmas gift. There's a process to unwrapping. And even after you unwrap, sometimes the most exciting thing is looking at the package and imagining what it is. You have time to figure out if it's for you, if you like it, or if you are more excited about the package than you are what's inside the package. Once you see the gift or the person that you're dating, once you see them for what they really are, if you're disappointed, do you fake it and pretend that it's what you want? Do you tell yourself it's better to have this gift and no gift at all? Or are you honest and give it back gracefully? Give thanks to God that every interaction has the ability to give, to be a gift. And give thanks to God that you have a heart that's soft enough to still love. The ability to still love after pain is a gift. That's where I'm at. I'm so proud of myself that I'm still able to love after everything I've been through. But it's time for me to slow down. And it's time for me to learn how to look at the gift for what it is and to decide if the gift is for me or not. I don't have to bring every Amazon package that shows up at the door into the house. Some of them got to get sent back. So how do we know if the gift, if what shows up is for us? We have to know us. We have to know who we are. We have to know where God has taken us. We have to have our resume ready. So today I asked myself, what does your spouse resume look like? Are you ready to present yourself? Are you ready to present your attitude? Are you ready to present your bank account? Are you ready to present your home? Are you ready to present your refrigerator? Are you ready to present your meals? Are you ready to present your body, a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable? When you present yourself to your mate, you must have already presented yourself to the Almighty Jehovah. So this season that I'm about to walk into is about presenting every area of myself to God and allowing Him to give me feedback on how I can improve in order to get ready for whatever is in front of me. And I might end up Lady Danbury. Will I be happy about that? No, but I will be joyful. It may not be what I want, but if God knows that's what I need in my life, I'm going to go through life single and joyful. And I will be fulfilled in other ways besides having a mate. Do I feel that today? No. But I'm committed to this journey. And part of this journey is sharing with you, being transparent. Because one thing I've always asked God to do is no matter what I go through, let it be a blessing to somebody else. That's why it was so hard for me to do this podcast today. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to share this. But I know it's important because number one, it's going to force me to be accountable. And number two, somebody else is dealing with the same thing. And me being transparent is going to allow you to shift. I'm off the dating apps. I'm not talking to any of the people that I've been talking to. I'm not going on any dates. I'm giving myself 60 days. That doesn't sound like a long time. But I haven't been 60 days without any dates in 3 years. So I'm going to do 60 days. So I'll check in with you next month, the middle of July, and we'll see how it's going. I'm going to be transparent. I don't expect it to be easy. I already got a text today from somebody that I really want to text back, but I won't. So if you're dating right now and you're not happy with your dating life, if you've been on all the apps and you still are not finding the man of God that walks the way that you want your spouse, your future spouse to walk, if you're praying for somebody and you just don't see anybody in your periphery or in your front view, your rear view, your periphery, you don't see anybody, but you know God is able, join me. Join me on a dating sabbatical where we give ourselves and God our full attention, where we focus on our priorities in a way that really shows God that we are serious, that we're prioritizing our love for ourselves and God above anything else. I don't know what's going to happen on the other side of this. I just know I've had too many people, including Kim Davis yesterday, tell me that this is what I needed to do. It doesn't feel good. I'm not excited about it, but I'm going to do it. You know why? Because obedience is better than sacrifice. And if I'm obedient, God is obligated to fulfill His promise in my life. This is the Tea with Dr. T. I hope you got something today that you need, that you can put in your teacup and drink, because it's hot out here. But guess what? We're going to be all right. See you next month.